What is going on there, everyone? Sorry for being such a late day. I stayed up all night doing chemistry projects. Um, Interesting story here. Not really, if you're in with everything, this is to be expected, but for some, this should be rather interesting. From the Daily Caller, Rashida Tlaib. We didn't have ICE years ago before 9/11. We were fine. Well, let's just jump off here real quick. In 2003, the Administration of Immigration Services, including permanent residence, naturalization, asylum, and other functions, became the responsibility of the Bureau of Citizenship and Immigration Services, which existed under that name for only a short period of time before changing to its current name, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. The investigative and enforcement functions of the INS, including investigations, deportations, and intelligence, were combined with the U.S. Customs investigators to create the U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, ICE. So, I see what she's saying. There was not an institution called ICE before then. But yes, ICE was there. I mean, it was just combined under something else and given a new name. But the functions were there. They were there, people. I know most of us know that, but it seems like Rashida Tlaib and her little band of four don't know actual American history or anything, for that matter, at all. They're very opinionated, but they don't put a lot of facts in their opinions. But, yeah, I'll put a link in the description to this Wikipedia, which anyone can see. It's very easy to get to, and it does a fairly good job, and it's pretty comprehensive in INS and ICE matters. You know, they talk about it fairly well, and it's pretty darn accurate. I cross-referenced it with a couple different other sites, and everything seems to be checking out. But let's get back to the story here. Democratic Michigan Representative Rashida Tlaib unpacked her anti-immigration and customs enforcement stance and said the U.S. was fine without ICE pre 9/11 during the podcast released Tuesday. Was it really? Was it really? I mean, first off, we all know that ICE was around under another name. So, yes, she was wrong in that sense. But even without ICE, the U.S. wasn't all that fine. I mean, do got to remember, we were just letting pretty much anybody come here if they had a green card or some other thing, and it was pretty easy to get back then, pre 9/11. Once 9/11 happened, everything changed though, because look at the circumstances. We had a group of foreign individuals that came here on what did they come here as? Most of them came here on like school. I don't know the exact term for it, to be honest with you, but they came here for schooling and stuff like that. So they came here legally. But look what they did. It caused the whole situation. So we made things a little stricter and a little bit tougher for our own good, you know, for Americans' own good. Why does she not see this? This was, I mean, everything that was done was pretty much done to protect America and Americans. It's kind of ridiculous. It needs to be completely dismantled. We didn't have ICE years ago before 9/11, and I can tell you we were fine, Tlaib said on an episode of Authentically Detroit. We weren't all that fine. If we were fine, a lot of things that happened wouldn't have ended up happening. But I digress. ICE was created in 2003 after the now defunct Immigration and Naturalization Services, INS, was dissolved and its duties transferred to three entities, including ICE. Under the newly created Department of Homeland Security, INS conducted raids. We had Border Patrol, we had all those. I want people to appreciate that, unpack that. This is a new agency that came about afterwards. It's not really new. It's under a different name. That doesn't make it new, is what I'm saying. That's my argument to her, is No, ice was around, it just wasn't called ice. Does the word ice scare you? Are you afraid of cold objects? What is your problem here? I don't understand. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. This is a new agency that came about afterwards. It's important to know that. This is not the Border Patrol in the field. This is a different agency that is very, in some cases, rogue. Absolutely incorrect also. These people do raids on people that shouldn't be here. They are here illegally, and most of them have criminal backgrounds. Like 85% of the people they arrest have criminal convictions in the U.S. and they're illegal. So they are fast-tracked to get out. Seems logical if you ask me. But we are talking about people from the far left, so logic doesn't exist. Tlaib said, who is the first Palestinian American woman to serve in Congress. Well, congratulations, and you really screwed that up. You should have been... Why couldn't we have had the first Palestinian American to serve in Congress be normal? Why? Would that have been so hard? Obviously it was. I feel bad for all the Palestinian Americans that have to see her and listen to her. That's who I feel bad for, because she gives them a bad name, which I will not do. I will not look down on any Palestinian Americans because of her, but you know what I'm saying. DHS was created in response to the deadly 9/11 attacks, but Tlaib seemed to forget that at least 3 of the hijackers were in the country illegally, according to the Federation for American Immigration Reform. During her podcast appearance, Tlaib also talked about ICE raids in her community in 2010 when she was serving as a state legislator. I ran on abolishing ICE. I remember they did some sort of ICE operation right in front of a school. And then they did it again. I remember pushing back. It was during the Obama administration, Tlaib said. Yeah, because Obama was known as the deporter-in-chief. And Obama, and a lot of other things, because Obama was a really bad guy. He's just not good. In many retrospects, if you look at it, it was like, whoa, I mean, come on. He's sitting there drone striking everything that moves over there in the Middle East, whether it was a problem or not. Tomorrow we are dropping a very special episode featuring an interview U.S. Representative Rashida Tlaib. It's longer than usual, but it's so good. Be sure to subscribe to us on all platforms where you're listening to podcasts. Authentically Detroit. No thank you, I'll probably never listen to you because you're giving these freaks platforms and letting them spread hatred and fear. Which they have all right to do. But should we really be propping them up so hard? Yes, let them speak. But dang, don't give them such a giant platform to do it on. Or do it, I don't care. I'd take that back. Let them speak. Put them on more media. Because the more these people are out in public and in the front of things, the more people are going to say, these people are not right. There's something wrong with them. Tlaib is a member of the so-called squad of 4 progressive congresswomen who faced insults from President Donald Trump starting with a July 14th Twitter rant asking, why don't they go back? Tlaib's office did not immediately respond to the Daily Caller News Foundation's request for comment, nor will they. But you see what I'm saying here, people. She's arguing that we didn't have ICE before 9/11 and all this, when in fact we did have ICE before that. It was under a different name. That's it. So she's wrong. We gotta stop listening to these people. If you are someone who listens to these people and actually tries to find substance in what they're saying, just do yourself a favor and stop, because you will run your head ragged trying to make sense of these people and their very insane ideological views. It's not good for your health. Trust me, your mental health will affect your physical health sooner or later. And I'm talking to all you extreme leftists, you identitarian left. Stop. All you're doing is making yourself miserable. by following people like Rashida Tlaib and others. You're making yourselves miserable. There's so much anger from the left. That's all you hear is anger and outrage, this, that, and the other, about stuff they literally have no idea what they're talking about. I went on Wikipedia for 2 seconds and could find all the information I was looking for. They don't do that. They don't do research. They talk with my feelings. And that's not how you win an argument. No one cares. Facts are loud. Facts, I mean, knowledge is power. The more you know, the more powerful you are. And that's why I always tell the people, Americans, not politicians that are out doing this, not big, giant business class people and stuff like that. No, Americans, research as much as possible about everything possible. Keep your brain very, very active, because the healthier you are mentally, and the sharper you are mentally, it actually will lend itself to you actually being physically healthier, because you just have a better, at the fear of sounding like a hippie, you have a better aura about you. You just have a better vibe going on. When you're mentally healthy, everything else works. But when you're not mentally healthy, when you're outraged all the time, you're always angry, you're actually seeking something to make you upset for you can go on a Twitter rant or something, or some kind of rampage about it, don't do that. Because all you're doing is hurting yourself. There is a chemical called cortisol in our bodies that stress produces. And when you stress over stuff that you shouldn't be stressed over in the first place, like the left loves to do, which is pretty much everything that's normal, they stress over. They're flooding their systems with cortisol, which is slowly killing them. And that's not cool. I don't want to see no one die, especially from their own just outrage. That's ridiculous. But it can happen. But yeah, I've gone off into some type of crazy tangent. So let me bring it back and just say, I'd love to hear your comments on this. And as usual, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you on the flip side.